there, good evening and welcome to the news tonight here on Sabha TV. I'm Tracy Shilshi, and in the next 30 minutes, this is where you'll get a top stories from India and across the world, starting with the headlines. With 200 programs on NDA government's 2 years in power, cabinet ministers and MPs are to take the government's achievements to the people from tomorrow. President Pranab Mukherjee addresses business forum in Guangzhou, invites Chinese investors to take part in the Make in India program. After 4 years, the government announces decision to auction 67 oil and gas fields. Bidding will open on the 15th of July and end on the 31st of October. Pinarayi Vijayan takes oath as the Chief Minister of Kerala. The new LDF government announces austerity measures in the state. And clashes break out during Donald Trump's rally in New Mexico. Supporters and opponents trade abuses and blows over his stand on immigration. But what's going to be the top story, of course, this whole week? The NDA government completes 2 years in power on the 26th of May, and the government has plans to mark the anniversary with a series of events spread over a fortnight. Here are the details.
The Narendra Modi-led NDA government marks 2 years in power on May 26th. To mark the anniversary, 200 programs will be held between 26th of May and 10th of June. The first of these will be a rally in Uttar Pradesh, Saharanpur, addressed by the Prime Minister. Through these functions, cabinet ministers and NDA MPs will take the government's achievements to the people.
कार्यकर्ताओं का सम्मेलन होगा, जो बेनिफिशियरीज हैं विभिन्न योजनाओं के, उनके सम्मेलन हो सकते हैं, कुछ किसान सम्मेलन, कुछ युवा सम्मेलन, कुछ महिला सम्मेलन, इस तरह के कार्यक्रम करेंगे, प्रेस कॉन्फ्रेंसेस होंगी.
A special celebration on May 28th will be held at India Gate in the national capital. At the event, the Swachh Bharat Abhiyan, the Digital India campaign and rural electrification projects will be highlighted. But opposition parties allege that the government has been unable to fulfill its promises in the past 2 years.
पिछले 2 साल में जो टूटे हुए वादों की कहानी है, जो अच्छे दिन के सब्ज बाग दिखाए थे प्रधानमंत्री श्री नरेंद्र मोदी ने, और किस तरह लोगों में एक निराशा का वातावरण है, ये उसका उत्कृष्ट सम्मिश्रण है.
वो कहीं भी उनका रोड मैप भी नहीं दिखता, वो कैसे पूरी होंगी. जैसे गंगा की सफाई है, किसानों की उत्पादन के 1.5 गुना दाम देंगे, बेकार और बेरोजगार नौजवानों को 2 करोड़ रोजगार देंगे.
All central ministries will also present their report card. Pranav Goswami's report for Rajya Sabha TV.
Meanwhile, addressing the India-China Business Forum in Guangzhou, President Pranab Mukherjee, in fact, urged investors in China to invest in India, saying that it will be making the environment more conducive for Chinese businessmen. He also outlined the need for both countries to expand the areas of cooperation and reduce differences. Pranab Mukherjee will hold talks with the Chinese president and the premier on Thursday.
President Pranab Mukherjee on Wednesday urged Chinese investors to take part in the Make in India program. He assured them that India was committed to providing an encouraging environment for Chinese investments. Addressing the India-China Business Forum in Guangzhou, Mukherjee told the gathering that India is today one of the biggest global investment destinations, with bilateral trade growing to $71 billion in 2015.
To realize the full potential of our economic partnership, it is important to bridge the information gap between our business communities. We are committed to providing a conducive environment for more investments from China. India would like to see a greater market for our products in China, particularly in sectors where we have natural complementarities and competitive edge.
Earlier, Pranab Mukherjee held talks with Guangdong Governor Chu Xiaoden and other officials on economic and cultural matters. Meanwhile, reacting to the president's visit, the Tibetan government in exile said bilateral ties between India and China cannot progress until the Tibet issue was resolved.
Whether both countries like it or not, accept it or not, the issue of Tibet remains an important sticking point. Of course, we always welcome any progress in the development of relations between the two countries. The core issues still remain unresolved, that is the issue of security of Indian borders.
Mukherjee will meet Chinese President Xi Jinping on Thursday for delegation-level talks. He is also slated to hold talks with Premier Li Keqiang and other top leaders. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
India has offered to auction off 67 discovered oil and gas fields on Wednesday after a gap of over 4 years. Petroleum Minister Dharmendra Pradhan announced that bidding for these fields will be opened on the 15th of July and the last date will be the 31st of October.
9 months after the Union Cabinet cleared the decision, the government on Wednesday announced auction of discovered oil and gas fields. Global bidders will seek claim to as many as 67 discoveries clubbed into 46 fields that hold resources worth nearly 70,000 crore. 28 discoveries are in Mumbai offshore, 14 in the Krishna-Godavari basin, while 10 are on the Assam shelf. The biggest discovery is the D18 in Mumbai offshore that holds 14.78 million tons oil reserves. Among gas discoveries, the largest is B9 in offshore Kutch basin with 14.67 billion cubic meters.
ये देश की अर्थनीति में मददगार होगी और मैं आज जिस प्रकार से उत्साह लोगों के अंदर दिख रहा हूं, मार्केट में दिख रहा हूं, उसमें भारत की नए उद्यमी आएंगे और विश्व स्तर के भी इन्वेस्टर उसमें से आएंगे। भारत की बाजार की स्थिति को देख के भारत इन दिनों में एक निवेश की assured point बन चुका है।
The government claimed these discoveries of ONGC and All India Limited in 2012-13 since the small size and price made production unviable. However, these state-run entities can bid to get back their discoveries. But experts feel oil and gas price volatility and the high cost of production might dampen investor sentiment.
One is external to these fields, which is mostly on the oil and gas prices. There's so much of price uncertainty, price volatility, that investing in oil and gas anywhere is a question mark at this time. So that's a general challenge. On the specific challenges in this is that the fields are relatively small, right? So the prospectivity is also relatively small. But then you have to weigh it against the advantages which are also there. These are discovered fields. So to that extent, the risks are way lower than any new prospecting.
Winners get a 20-year license with marketing and pricing freedom on a revenue sharing contract. The government also plans to conduct roadshows for global investors in places like Singapore, Houston, London, Dubai and Perth. Kriti Mishra, Rajya Sabha TV.
Pinarayi Vijayan today took oath as the Chief Minister of Kerala along with 19 ministers. The ceremony at the Central Stadium in Thiruvananthapuram drew about 30,000 people. Pinarayi Vijayan is a CPIM veteran who has served as the party's Kerala State Secretary for 17 years, the longest tenure ever. He has been elected to the State Assembly 5 times and won this year's election from Dharmadam constituency by a margin of 36,000 votes. Vijayan, who was picked to be Chief Minister over V.S. Achyutanandan, has said that his government will be a people's government and will function for the welfare of the people. In his cabinet, Vijayan will have 12 ministers from the CPIM, 4 from the CPI and 1 each from LDF constituents, the Janata Dal S, the Nationalist Congress Party and the Congress S. And after forming the government in Assam for the first time, the BJP is now hoping to build upon its political breakthrough in the entire Northeast region. For this, the party has now formed a Northeast Democratic Alliance comprising of the ruling parties of Sikkim and Nagaland, apart from the NDA partners in Assam and Arunachal Pradesh. Former Congressman Himanta Biswa Sarma is said to be the architect of BJP's victory in Assam and will now lead this front.
After its victory in Assam, the Bharatiya Janata Party is now broad-basing its presence in the Northeast. The party has formed an anti-Congress bloc, the Northeast Democratic Alliance, to improve coordination among the NDA partners. Former Congressman and number 2 in the Sarbanand Sonowal government, Himanta Biswa Sarma, will lead the front.
We will work together for the development of Northeast. We will share our common problems in this platform. We will try to solve our common problems. We will try to grow together as a Northeast. and under the leadership of Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Amit Shah, this platform will work together to ensure that Northeast become one of the growth engine, rather a dark growth engine for the country.
The decision was taken at a meeting chaired by Party President Amit Shah, BJP General Secretary Ram Madhav, Chief Ministers of Assam, Arunachal Pradesh, Nagaland and Sikkim were also present at the meet.
Northeast Democratic Alliance will be an alliance of non-Congress parties in the northeastern states. Today in 4 states we are in power, and there are 4 other states in the region. There are important non-Congress political parties. All these parties will come together and become constituents of this Northeast Democratic Alliance.
This is a great decision for the overall growth of Northeast. We are sure that with this particular platform, Northeast will prosper in a bigger way.
The Northeast Democratic Alliance is expected to form strategies to unseat rival Congress governments in the region. At present, the Congress has 3 state governments, Manipur, Meghalaya and Mizoram in the Northeast. The BJP is expected to go for tie-ups with smaller regional political parties to make political gains like it did in Assam. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
And now to a continuing focus on the country's drought crisis. Soaring temperatures in Rajasthan have broken all records in Ajmer district, and it has worsened the drought and the water crisis in the district, with women being hit the hardest.
Housework and gathering cattle feed are the exclusive responsibility of the women of Hathipura village. But these days, arranging water for the household is an additional task that takes up their entire time. In Ajmer's Bandhanwada Panchayat, the water tank has been empty for the last 7 years. So are other water sources for the 300-odd villagers. These days, people are warned against going out in the overpowering heat, but the women have no option but to walk on broken, stone-filled, treeless roads to fetch water for their homes.
5 किलोमीटर से दूर से पानी आ रहा है और वहाँ का सड़क नहीं है, बिल्कुल डंडा का चारों नहीं है, बिल्कुल दुख की मन्ना हो रहा हम उधर मोटियारा ना कोई दिक्कत ना आती है, लुगिया ना दिक्कत आती, 4 हाथ ले लेर घर आता पानी ले लेर मटकी से.
Ajmer's rural areas are facing a huge water scarcity. The mercury is touching 50 degrees Celsius. Hot winds blow at night, but there is no respite for the women who are angry with the state of affairs.
वो सबसे ज्यादा तो पानी की समस्या है. वो वहाँ पर रोड पे है 1.5 किलोमीटर वहाँ पर लेके आती है पानी. एक पास का मैं बड़े वो रोड आती है ना पहाड़ दी बड़े बाप यहाँ लेके बस बात का मैं कराती.
हमारे गांव में पानी बहुत दूर से आते हैं, वो भी थक जाते आते वो 3-4 सांस लेके घर पे आते. मेरे गांव में रोड पक्की की नहीं है, आते हैं खुरंजा बिड़ाना है.
Some 9 lakh people are affected in the villages. Farming is in a state of crisis. Both water and fodder are in scarce supply. The Bandhanwada Panchayat is one of the biggest in the region, but despite efforts of its sarpanch, government assistance hasn't reached them.
हमने पंचायत समिति मीटिंग में अधिकारियों को सबको बता दिया, प्रधान जी को बता दिया और मंत्री महोदय को और अपने विधायक महोदय को बता दिया. उन्होंने बार-बार हमारे को आश्वासन देकर के आगे से आगे इसमें क्रियान्वित कर रहे हैं, कार्य भी कर रहे हैं. अब फाइल भेज रहे हैं, ऊपर काम हो रहा है. आपका 8 लाख की स्वीकृति भी आपने निकाल दी है, उसकी स्वीकृति आज दिन तक नहीं आई है.
Ajmer district has been declared drought affected. Despite the water crisis, there are few signs of institutional assistance. Women are the biggest victim of the negligence. Arvind Kumar Singh's report for Rajya Sabha TV.
And now let's give you some quick updates from across the country nationwide. India today condemned the killing of a Congolese postgraduate student in Delhi last week and assured safety for the thousands of African nationals in the country. Calling the incident unfortunate, the Foreign Ministry spokesperson Vikas Swarup said that all criminal acts should not be seen as racially motivated. Tamil Nadu Chief Minister J. Jayalalitha, DMK Chief M. Karunanidhi and M.K. Stalin were today sworn in as MLAs in the 15th Tamil Nadu Assembly. The House met for its first session under Pro Tem Speaker S. Semalai. Jayalalitha was the first to be sworn in after the House met. Bihar police arrested 5 shooters in connection with the Siwan journalist Rajya Ranjan murder case. The shooters are reportedly associated with Laddan Mia, who allegedly worked as a henchman for Mohammad Shahabuddin, an RJD leader in Siwan. The Opposition National Conference and Congress today walked out from the joint session of the Jammu and Kashmir legislature, protesting against the Armed Forces Special Powers Act and shortage of food rations in the state. They also demanded the dismissal of Forest Minister Lal Singh for his remarks against Gujars in Jammu last week. With a quick break here, we will be back with the international news in a bit. Stay with us.
Congress Mukt Bharat. Is that something that you are achieving?
I think that is now become a people's agenda.
India is the second largest importer of arms. If we become an exporter of arms, it will be incredible.
I think at the end of tenure of this government, it will. This is one area where I will be very happy to lose the rank. I expect Rafale deal to close very soon. We are at the last stages of negotiation. The army has a clear direction that if there is an infiltration attempt, don't hesitate, neutralize the terrorist.
Watch Union Defence Minister Manohar Parrikar articulate his views into the point on Rajya Sabha television.
Wake up to a complete roundup of news from India and abroad. Politics, strategy, business, sports. Keen analysis to kickstart your day. Watch Breakfast News weekdays at 8 a.m. on Rajya Sabha television.
Welcome back. The US has said that it is watching the India-Iran ties very closely. The US Assistant Secretary of State for South and Central Asia said that India's relationship with Iran is primarily based on economic and energy issues. However, the US is examining the details of the Chabahar port announcement between India and Iran. Responding to a question expressing concerns between India's relationship with Iran, the Assistant Secretary of State said, and I quote, "They have been very responsive and receptive to our briefings to what we believe the line are, and we have to examine the details of the Chabahar announcement to see where it falls in that place," unquote. Now, in a recently concluded deal between India and Iran, India will invest $500 million for the development of the Chabahar port. Now, the 42nd two-day annual meeting of the Group 7 summit will start from the 26th of May in Japan's Kashiko Island, and leaders from these Group of 7 industrialized nations have started arriving at the venue. A day before the summit, Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe made a pilgrimage to the Ise Grand Shrine, the holiest site in Japan's Shinto religion.
The leaders of the world's 7 richest nations have begun arriving in Kashiko Island of Japan to attend the 42nd two-day annual meeting of G7. The leaders will discuss the fragile global economy and are expected to promote a combination of monetary, fiscal and structural policies. Terrorism, refugees, trade, cybersecurity and maritime security will also be discussed.
中方呢在南海所进行的活动完全是正当合法、无可非议的。中国完全有权、必须，而且呢也能够维护自己在南海地区的正当的权益，不再受到侵害。
Bu yetti dönlep yığında müzakere kılınayotgan mesele terrorizm meselesi bilen köçmeler meselesi iken bizning xalqimizga dünya igi chiqmasa bu yetti dövlət meselesi de başka yığınlardan bizning xalqimizning meselesi.
Before the official summit begins Thursday, the G7 finance ministers met to discuss issues ranging from the global economy and foreign exchange rates to money laundering. The ministers also discussed tax transparency and money laundering in the wake of the Panama data leak.
さらにマネロン対策、マネーロンダリングの対策という観点から、実質的な所有者情報の透明性の向上について議論を継続することの重要性を確認をいたしております。
Sri Lankan President Maithripala Sirisena will also join the leaders from Canada, France, Germany, Italy, Japan, UK, USA and representatives of the European Union. Sirisena is an official invitee of the Japanese Prime Minister as an outreach partner. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
The Afghan Taliban yesterday confirmed the killing of its leader Mullah Muhammad Akhtar Mansoor in a US drone strike last week. It has now appointed Maulvi Hebatullah Akhundzada as the new leader of the group. An online statement said that all members of the Taliban's leadership council have pledged alliance to Akhundzada. The council also chose Mullah Sirajuddin Haqqani and Mullah Muhammad Yaqub, who is the son of Taliban founder Mullah Muhammad Omar, as the first and second deputies to Akhundzada. Now to the US, where Donald Trump has marched closer to the Republican nomination on Wednesday, winning the Washington primary unopposed. Hillary Clinton also clinched the Democratic primary in the state. The victory means that 69-year-old Trump has now 1,229 of the 1,237 delegates that he needs to clinch the GOP nomination for presidency. In the primary, Trump garnered over 76% of the vote, as Texas Senator Ted Cruz and Ohio Governor John Kasich each earned 10% of the votes. The rest of the 4% went to retired neurosurgeon Ben Carson. But protesters repeatedly interrupted a campaign rally held by Donald Trump in Albuquerque in New Mexico on Wednesday. More than 100 demonstrators clashed with police outside the event as demonstrators threw burning T-shirts and other items at the police officers.
Chaotic scenes outside Albuquerque's convention center at Donald Trump's rally in New Mexico. As protesters lit fires, threw rocks and plastic bottles, and chanted anti-Trump slogans, holding up signs and waving Mexican flags. Police responded by firing pepper spray and smoke grenades. Protesters also interrupted Trump's speech at the rally with chants against his position on illegal immigration and plans to build a border wall with Mexico. The protest started peacefully outside the convention center a few hours before the rally began. Tensions rose as Trump supporters also started arriving. The proceedings became violent when both sides started hurling abuses at each other. It's not the first time that violence has broken out at Trump's rallies. He cancelled a gathering in Chicago in March after his supporters clashed with opponents. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
And now for some more international news updates, here's Global Buzz. A Swedish court has upheld the arrest warrant of WikiLeaks founder Julian Assange, with the prosecutor saying that there's still probable cause on a rape allegation and that the risk of him evading justice is still at large. Assange's legal team said that it will appeal to a higher court. While the legal back and forth continues, Assange will remain in the Ecuadorian embassy in London, which granted him political asylum in June 2012. Floods have subsided across Sri Lanka, revealing the full extent of damage from last week's deluge that also triggered landslides. The Disaster Management Centre said 101 people died last week, while about 100 more are listed as missing in the worst-hit central district of Kegol. Bangladesh claims that the ISIS terror group is trying to initiate religious radicalization by falsely claiming a spate of local killings. Analysts say that this is a sign that ISIS is losing territory in Iraq and Syria and its finances are depleting. They fear that it is trying to build affiliates in countries such as Libya, Egypt and Bangladesh for jihadists to launch attacks locally and cheaply. US President Barack Obama took off from the Vietnamese commercial hub Ho Chi Minh City, bringing his trip to the former enemy to an end. Thousands came out to bid him farewell as his convoy drove through the city. Earlier in the day, Obama held a town hall meeting with Vietnamese youths, answering questions relating to issues ranging from the environment to politics. And now let's get you all the latest from the world of sports in Sports Beat. Indian squash players Joshna Chinnappa and Deepika Pallikar won their opening round matches to reach the quarterfinals of the PSA HKFC International in Hong Kong today. Joshna defeated Egyptian qualifier Salma Hani 11-8, 11-7, 6-11, 11-8, while Deepika dispatched Malaysian qualifier Loh Wee Wern 11-1, 11-3, 11-3 to advance to the last 8. The Indo-Swiss tennis pair of Sania Mirza and Martina Hingis have advanced to the second round of the French Open. The duo defeated Russian pair of Daria Kasatkina and Alexandra Panova 7-6, 6-2. The pair will next face the winners of the match between the pairs of Karen Knapp, Mandy Minella and Nauhubini and Eri Hozumi. In the men's singles, top-seeded Stan Wawrinka and Kei Nishikori have advanced to the third round of the French Open. Defending champion Wawrinka improved his form as he defeated Japan's Taro Daniel in straight sets 7-6, 6-3, 6-4. Japan's Kei Nishikori, meanwhile, outclassed Russian Andrei Kuznetsov 6-3, 6-3, 6-3. The Russian Olympic Committee has said that 14 of its athletes at the 2008 Beijing Olympics tested positive for doping during retests of their samples. Sports Minister Vitaly Mutko said that the results are not an objective picture of Russia's doping situation. Football club Ajax have appointed former Netherlands international midfielder Peter Bos as their new manager on a 3-year deal. Bos will replace Frank de Boer, who left Ajax after they were beaten to the Eredivisie title on the final day of the season by PSV Eindhoven. And that's all we have for you in the news tonight. From the entire team here, good night. We'll see you again tomorrow.
Thank you.